Hey everybody, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Stillen dual rear exit exhaust system with polished tips, fitting 2011 and newer 5.7 liter Ram 1500s with factory dual exhaust. Now this setup is going to appeal to the Hemi-powered Ram owner who wants that true blue muscle car type of sound in a high quality exhaust. When it comes to the sound level, this one will get a 4 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It's not entirely unhinged, though it will give your Ram a healthy injection of character. Stillen's legacy is born out of racing and competition, and though a Ram 1500 isn't going to be a race car, it's sure going to sound like one if you strap this exhaust onto it. Now, as you heard from the clips at the start of the video, this system really unlocks that Hemi sound. It's deep, it's throaty, but it's still refined enough for a daily driver. I think it's safe to say that we all enjoy a good V8 soundtrack, and after hearing this one, I would not mind listening to this every day. Even inside the cabin, though it is of course going to be louder than your stock setup, the sound is not over the top. Despite its volume, it's more than tolerable for a long road trip or commute, and when you really lay into the throttle, you get that awesome sound coming out of the pipes. Now this is a full catback system, so it's going to take the place of your factory resonator and mufflers, leaving you with this single suitcase style muffler. Now this is a single in, dual out type of setup, much like your factory exhaust. However, Stillen has engineered this muffler to ensure that exhaust gases flow evenly out of both pipes, and so this system does not drone, again making it tolerable for a daily driver. Plus, as you can hear, it does have some nice baffling in there, so it's going to help keep all that drone at bay, and it's going to make sure that this is again tolerable if you drive your truck all the time. Now this system is also 5 pounds lighter than your factory exhaust, and it's going to have less back pressure as well. Less weight is always good, and less back pressure means that your engine will be able to breathe better and thus can make some more power. This system does exit in the same location as your stock setup, with both tips exiting out right under the back bumper. And the one that we have on the table today features these large polished tips. But you can have this same system with either burnt blue tips or carbon fiber tips. Now those two other options will cost a little bit more than this one that we have with the polished tips, but ostensibly it's the same exhaust, just with a slightly different style, so you can pick the one that's going to fit your build best. Personally, I like the classic polished look. It's got the Stillen logo etched right here on the edge here, and these are nice big hefty 5-inch dual wall slash cut tips. I like this look, but again, you have the option to pick whichever one you like best, and we do have all of them available right here on our website. The piping here is all 2.5-inch mandrel bent tubing, and Stillen takes time to check each piece of tubing for proper fitment. They also place an emphasis on adjustability, so you can make sure that you get the fitment exactly right for your truck. Each piece is also trimmed, shaped, and deburred by hand, and each exhaust is designed and made right here in the USA. And this system comes with a limited lifetime warranty for some additional peace of mind. Pricing comes in at about $1,300, which does place it in the more premium end of the market. However, the material and build quality here do warrant the price. And even if they didn't, the sound certainly does. Now it is again worth mentioning that if you want the carbon fiber or the burnt tips, as opposed to these polished ones, those will cost you about $100 extra. But again, if you want that unique style to go with the sound, it's worth finding the room in your budget. And even if you just want the standard polished tips, I think this one is worth finding the room in your budget as well, because it just sounds so darn good and everything looks nice. It's going to fit well right out of the gate. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now, as you'd expect from a system like this, all the necessary components to get it fitted come included in the box, and it's designed to bolt right in place of your stock exhaust, so you don't need to make any modifications to the truck itself. That said though, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process right now.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, a 16, 15, 14, 13 millimeter socket, a pry bar, a 14 millimeter wrench, exhaust hanger tool, spray lubricant, and also not shown be a lift and pull jacks. All right, today we're going to be putting an exhaust on our Ram. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock one, then we'll come back here to install the new one.
First step here, we're going to grab our hanger removal tool and pop the hanger off right above our resonator on our passenger side tailpipe. The driver's side tailpipe is one piece all the way back to the muffler inlet, so we're going to attack that later. So for right now, we're going to do this, and I've lubricated it with WD-40. That makes life a little bit easier. All right, next step, grab your ratchet and your 15 millimeter deep socket, and we're gonna loosen up the clamp holding the tailpipe to the rest of the exhaust assembly. All right, hanger's out of position, clamp is loosened up. Let's get this exhaust pipe off. All right, so at this point, we're gonna focus on our driver's side tailpipe. Now, like I said, it's all one piece. I have a pull jack here right behind the resonator just to give it some support once we start disconnecting things. I am gonna remove this tip, however. Removing this tip gives you another foot, maybe foot and a few inches of extra space that you don't have to worry about feeding out of the frame. So we're gonna take this guy off with a 13mm socket. Next, we can pop the hanger out of the isolator using our hanger removal tool right above that resonator. All right, so now we can disconnect the hangers right above the muffler outlet. There's one on each side. Grab your hanger removal tool and get these guys off. Now, as you can see, I have a pull jack here supporting this as well. So we have two different points of support for this exhaust. Now for this one, it's tough to get the hanger removal tool in here, so I'm gonna use my pry bar to get this guy off. All right, so next up, we're gonna focus on this flange here. Now you could bypass this and go straight back to the cat, but that's a lot of exhaust to take off in one piece, so I'm gonna separate it here. Now, once we have this taken care of, there is one more hanger to remove, but for now, grab your 16mm socket and disconnect these two bolts. All right, now when you pop this guy out of the hanger isolator, this is all gonna come loose, so you wanna be prepared for that. Before we do so, there's a ground strap here. I'm just gonna disconnect that from the factory tubing. All right, so that way it dangles here and we can reconnect it to our new exhaust later. So now we can grab our hanger removal tool and pop that guy off. All right, now you can take this exhaust off.
All right, now we're gonna start off by putting our muffler section on. It's gonna go over our exhaust hanger first, then we have a pull jack here to help support the weight, and then we can install our supplied nuts and bolts for the front flange. All right, so we're gonna get it into place. Rest it up here. We're gonna take our supplied bolts, put them through the flange. Our nuts for our backside. All right, then we can take our ratchet with our 14mm socket and a 14mm wrench and tighten them down. All right, now we're gonna put up our passenger side pipe after the muffler. We're gonna put on our clamp first. Now this will be the one that does not make a right-hand turn, just kind of goes straight back. We're gonna put it in our hanger first, and then into the back of our muffler. All right, now just to make installing the driver's side pipe a little bit easier, we're gonna take this hanger off of the truck, or I'm sorry, this isolator off of the truck, using our exhaust hanger tool. All right, now we're ready to put our driver's side section up. We're gonna put it into our muffler first. We have our clamp on here also. Let that rest there. All right, then we're gonna take our isolator. We're gonna put it over our exhaust hanger first. And then we could put it onto our truck mount. All right, we'll come back and adjust everything later. All right, now we're gonna put our next section up. That is the over the axle pipe. We're gonna put our clamp on first. And then we're gonna put our section in. All right, you will see here, once again, it is a little bit harder to get the hanger on because of how long this one is. All right, we're gonna use our hanger tool, pull this isolator off. All right, then we're gonna put it over our exhaust first. All right, and then we can hang it up on the truck. All right, now we can put on our passenger side tail section. We're gonna put our clamp over first and slide that over. And then we'll come back later when we tighten and adjust everything. All right, now we're gonna put on our driver over the axle pipe. Put our clamp on first. Slide it over our pipe. And then into our isolator. All right, now we're gonna put on our driver's side tail section. Put our clamp over first. Slide that over. And now we can go back through and tighten and adjust it, starting from the front, working our way backwards. All right, now we're gonna start at behind the muffler with our first two clamps. We're gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket, tighten them down. All right, now we're gonna tighten down our next passenger side clamp, right here over the axle. All right, now we have our next clamp on the driver's side over the axle. All right, now at our driver's side tail section. All right, and then our passenger side. All right, and once you get everything adjusted to where you need it to be, we're gonna put on our tips, slide that on, and we're gonna grab our ratchet with a 13mm socket and tighten that down. All right, now you go ahead and do the same thing for the other tip. All right, and that wraps up our install of our Stillen dual exhaust system with polished tips, rear exit for our 2011 and newer 5.7 liter Ram 1500 with factory dual exhaust. And remember, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.